A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith both appeared for a rare interview where they discussed new offensive coordinator Kellen and what happened at the end of the season, but it was A.J. Brown's response to a media-created trade rumor that has my full attention. Also, new reports link Bill Belichick back to Philadelphia in 2025, and Fletcher, Cox, and Jason Kelce, could they be retiring soon? I'm Thomas Mott. This is The Thomas Mott Show. Remember how Bill Belichick parted ways with the Patriots a few weeks ago and was supposed to enter this 8-team head coaching hiring cycle as a top candidate? Until he ended up only interviewing with the Falcons and eventually landed nowhere and is now expected to take a high-level TV job this season? Well, there were some very slight rumblings early on that Philadelphia was very interested in Belichick for like a couple of days until suddenly they were all on board with keeping Sirianni and running it back in 2024 with the same head coach, but a completely new cast of coaches and coordinators around him. Well, with the Senior Bowl in full swing down in Alabama, rumors are starting to come out about this Philly-Belichick link maybe having some new life, according to Boston Journal founder Greg Bedard on 98.5.
Probably the most interesting thing that I've heard, and again, this is just Senior Bowl rumor mill, is that the Eagles were very interested in Belichick if things didn't work out with Nick Sirianni, and they could be at the front of the line if things again go poorly for him next year.
Well, so didn't things not work out with Nick Sirianni? Like, what does that mean? They got blown out in the first round.
Yes, but similar to Doug Peterson, like Doug Peterson was coming back until he had that postseason meeting with Howie and Jeffrey Lurie, and they wanted Doug Peterson to do certain things, fire certain people, and he wouldn't do it, so he got fired.
I see.
Apparently, Nick Sirianni was amenable to all that stuff, so they decided for one more year that they're going to keep him. But I do think, remember I told you guys that before the end of the season that teams had already reached out to Bill, back-channeled on Bill. I thought the Falcons were definitely one of them. I'm now pretty convinced that the Eagles were the other one. When things were going south, they thought this might end poorly with Sirianni, and I wouldn't be surprised, given the relationship that Howie and Bill have, that the Eagles were one of those teams to back-channel through Bill.
Okay, so if that's true, then Philadelphia was for sure at least going to interview Bill Belichick and might have actually hired him if Sirianni had not axed everybody, gotten rid of Desai, gotten rid of Patricia, gotten rid of the OC Brian Johnson, and brought in new coordinators that were team approved, like Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. But just the fact that a 7-year-old, full control, Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels loving Bill Belichick was actually seriously considered goes to show just how bad the collapse was in Philadelphia internally. Like, we saw it on the field, but Sirianni clearly lost control and now has one final shot to figure it out before the axe comes down again after next season. My only problem with this is what happened yesterday. News broke that Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson turned down the Commanders' job and is staying in Detroit for another year. And personally, I'd way rather have the 37-year-old offensive guru in Philadelphia if Sirianni flames out next year than Grandpa Bill. Just like how I'd way rather have the 75% of you guys who aren't subscribed who watch this show hit that red button right now. Now, for those wondering why Johnson might actually be available in 2025, he turned down the Commanders gig yesterday, which had new ownership, a number 2 overall draft pick, and like $100+ million in cap space because it's the Commanders and no one wants to coach there. Also, to add to the 2025 coaching list, while we're at it, throw in Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, who is staying with the organization after a raise for at least one more year, along with quarterback coach Gerard Johnson. So I guess at least there are plenty of high-profile names that are going to be available in 2025 if the Sirianni experiment continues to not work out. Now, I hope it does. I mean, honestly, I'd rather have a successful winning 2024 than a terrible 2024 and Sirianni get axed, but at least if that were to happen, Philadelphia has some younger names that aren't Bill Belichick to look forward to. Now, what really got my attention today is Kay Adams having both A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith on her YouTube show, and I was in the comment section begging her not to ask cupcake questions.
Please let this not be a cupcake interview. What is that supposed to mean? Thomas.
Now, to her credit, she did ask some pretty interesting questions. We'll get through those, although A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith had zero interest in giving any sort of in-depth response, which I can't blame them, but also, come on, give us something. Now, the first question we all want to know is, AJ, what is going on with all of these media-created trade news reports started by WIP this morning? Give us your thoughts.
I kind of been through this before, I'm a vet, so, I remain quiet and, if something happens, I'll be waiting by the phone, and not, then I'll be right here.
I'm getting all sorts of messages on YouTube. Why would they trade him? They wouldn't trade him. That's so messed up. Media this, media that, because it's Twitter. Are you happy where you are? And I think people are pointing to this because they saw you scrubbed your Instagram.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with football or, that's me just trying to grow as a person, just trying to, block out any negativity that, that I can, as you see, as one of the reasons why, you know. So, but yeah.
Now, in case you're wondering, there's no actual reporting on the whole idea that A.J. Brown is going to be traded. It all stemmed from a WIP poll. This one right here, yeah, which all Eagle fans said, no, don't trade A.J. Brown. Yet Twitter has ran with this as if it's an actual factual report and not just classic WIP making stuff up during the offseason. And while I wasn't exactly thrilled by AJ's answer, it wasn't the most reassuring thing for Bird fans. The good news for all of us is that trading AJ Brown would cost Philadelphia $42 million against the cap. So unless a team wants to help us out and actually pay that, there's basically a 0% chance Brown is going anywhere this offseason. Now next, AJ was asked about his knee injury suffered versus the Giants. Is it serious? Why'd you pull out of the Pro Bowl? And it's kind of what we all expected.
No, nothing to be concerned about. You know, I'm all good. You know, I just kind of decided not to go to the Pro Bowl. You know, I don't want to pretend like I want to be there when I don't, you know. So yeah. And also I want to try to give somebody else an opportunity. But even St. Brown, he ended up going. But, you know, so, you know, I try to look out for the other guys who've never been to the Pro Bowl, too. So.
Now, to K's credit, offensive coordinator Kellen Moore's name was brought up pretty darn quickly, and DeVonta Smith was tasked with answering, have you talked to him yet? Are you excited about it? And here's the vanilla response.
Just let us do what we do.
What does that mean?
like anybody else say, just give us the ball.
Now, if you're not understanding it by now, the Bird wide receivers had really no interest in giving any sort of serious detail, especially when asked about what happened at the end of the season. Why did the team collapse? Did Sirianni lose the team, guys?
I think over a period of time, I think things started to unravel. You know, it was like a domino effect. You know, we were trying to stop the bleeding. You know, but I think we just kind of ran out of time. You know, so yeah.
DeVonta, a lot of people are saying Coach Sirianni lost the team. What would you say to that?
No, I don't think he lost the team. I think we just had some things that we needed to adjust to, and we just didn't do that well as a team. I don't think he lost the team at all.
All right, I understand. It's hard to read into these comments. Not like A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith were always big media people. They never went into big-time detail, even during locker room scrums during the actual season. But I was hoping for something, some sort of super reassurance that, no, I'm not obviously getting traded, or yes, I really am glad Sirianni's back, or, oh, I can't wait for Kellen Moore to be the offensive coordinator, and we got none of that. So maybe it confirms there is still internal turmoil inside Philadelphia. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Give me your thoughts on what happened during Kay Adams' show today. I'm going to read the comments, see where you guys are at on both A.J., the offense, and Sirianni. Now, the other big news cycle that's going to get completely washed away in all the craziness of this week is the fact that Inquirer reporter Jeff McLane went on 97.5 The Fanatic today and said that Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox are both leaning toward retirement.
Now, two other names, Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox. Part of it, my guess would be because of your belief that Kelce might be retiring, or is there a reason why you would not bring them back? Can you talk on both Kelce and Cox?
So the basic premise of the stay and go thing is not like my opinion or anything.
Right.
I think how I think it's going to play out. I mean, and I still think that Jason is probably leaning retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's going to take some time and sit back and think about it. So that's basically most of my reasoning for that. And the same applies to Fletcher Cox. He has not said anything, but other players have. And from what I'm hearing kind of behind the scenes, that he's probably leaning towards retirement as well.
Now, I know McLane isn't exactly loved by Fletcher Cox.
You have confidence in if you do come back, that confidence in him if he's also the head coach.
Like any news about what about Nick?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some speculation about whether he may be fired or not.
Huh?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Man, the head football coach of this team, man. Come on, man. There ain't even discussion about that.
Yeah, okay. You don't think it's going to happen?
Like, I don't got nothing to say about that, man. You're a clown, bro. Get out of my face, bro.
But he does have insiders. He does know people inside the Eagles locker room and does get some things right at some points. And it wouldn't actually surprise anybody if Kelce and Fletcher Cox were to both hang it up at the end of the year, right? Personally, I think Jason's already decided on retiring. He's just waiting for his brother Travis to finish up his Super Bowl run, so it didn't take away any of the fun of that accomplishment away from him. Fletch, though, he's probably a little bit more undecided, and I guess could take some time before maybe even coming back after training camp to Philadelphia or another team that wants a veteran on their defensive line, kind of like what Ndamukong Suh did in Philadelphia a couple of years back. Either way, they're both absolute Philadelphia legends. I think both of their jerseys should be retired, obviously in the rafters. And Jason Kelce, he deserves a statue outside the stadium minimum. Like, at least he's got to go ahead and get one of those. And we got plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks, including tonight, our Wednesday live show, myself and Josh Davis, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're breaking down everything, reacting to the A.J. Brown, Kay Adams interview, reacting to the Bill Belichick news, reacting to all the Senior Bowl fun. It's going to be an absolute blast. Join us tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Don't be late. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been The Thomas Mott Show.